Today we're going to learn about how to use class constructors. While their syntax might seem a little bit confusing or weird, by the end of this video you'll feel a lot more comfortable on how to use them. Alrighty, so my channel is always going to start from a blank slate when I'm coding. So I've seen a lot of tutorials online where you jump in and the code's already on the screen and you're kind of confused like how they set certain things up. So I'm going to start from scratch with fun examples, hopefully, to make things a little bit easier. So think of classes like little factories. They take in a bunch of information that you pass in, and they spit out these beautiful objects for you that have exactly what you need and really nothing more. So imagine, for example, that you're creating an application that registers new users, and there's a bunch of information that you want to store about them. They have a name, they have an age, they have their favorite coding channel, and they also have a function that calls out their name when it's called. Just so you know, these functions inside objects are called methods, so I'll refer to them as methods from now on. To create a class is pretty simple. We're going to start with the word class, and we'll call this one person, for example. Now that seems a little bit too simple, right? There must be more to it. Well, there is. There's a method here called constructor, and constructor is going to do a lot of the work for us in actually building out this object when this class is called. Now, the constructor method is really helping us to define what's actually going to be constructed in this class, hence the name. So for this person, we want them to have a name, an age, and a favorite coding channel. So what we'll do is we'll type out constructor, and we'll talk about the name, the age, and their favorite channel. So again, remember that these classes are factories that are creating objects. So we have to tell this object where we're going to put each of these properties in. And we use that using the this keyword. So we'll say this.name, which is equal to name, this.age, which is equal to age, and then this.favorite channel, which is equal to favorite channel. So we'll create a method called introduce. And what we'll do is it'll simply just return, hi, my name is, and then we'll do plus this.name. So what's going to happen is that when you invoke this method here, it's going to return, hi, my name is, look to the object using this.name. So this.name is going to say, we're looking at this object. What is the name? And what's happening is it's going to find a property called name here and say, name is equal to, and this is the name that's being passed in when you create this class. So let me show you what I mean here. So let's create a person just called Steve, right? So I'm going to create a const Steve, and I'm going to set them equal to a new person. The reason you have to use new is because we want to create a new instance of a person. So it's actually telling the class, hey class, I'm ready to actually create a new person. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, when you start typing after the parentheses, you'll see again, we're pointing to the name, the age, and the favorite channel. And these are basically the arguments that we're going to pass in. So for the name, I'll say Steve, as that is my name. My age is 29. And my favorite channel is Code Brew Latte. So now when I actually, and just to kind of visualize this, we're going to use something called Quokka. So if you download Quokka on your extensions, you can hit Command-Shift-P and then start Quokka on the current file. And that will allow us to actually see console logs and everything on the screen. So if I console.log Steve, you'll see that I have a new object here that has a name, age, and a favorite channel. And let's just say, for example, I want to find my, Steve's age. I can do steve.age. Oops. I could do steve.age, and it'll show 29. And then before, like we talked about with introduce, if I do steve.introduce and call that function using parentheses, it'll say, hey, my name is Steve. So that seems relatively simple, right? Well, we have one more keyword called super. So we know in this case we created a person, right? That's a class. The person has a name, they have an age, and they have a favorite channel, right? But let's say that we want to create another type of class, another type of person, but this person is a developer. So a developer is still going to have a name, they're still going to have an age, and they're still going to have a favorite channel, hopefully. But let's just say we also want to add one more piece of information, which is their programming language that they want to have on this object. So what we're going to do is, you might think to yourself, okay, well, in that case, shouldn't we do like class developer, and then we basically do all that stuff again where we call constructor, we do name, age, blah, blah, blah. That's one way of doing it, but the problem is that's kind of violating a principle in coding called dry, which is do not repeat yourself. So this is already established in person. We don't need to create all those properties all over again for name, age, and favorite channel. Instead, what we can do is we can use something called extends. And what we can do is say extends person. So think of this as extends as a tree. What's happening is, let me fix this. What's happening is that person is basically the trunk of the tree that has all the information that we need for, name, age, favorite channel. All that information has already been created for person. Now, when we say developer, we still want the name, the age, the favorite channel. We want all that to be, accessible, and we still want to be able to create an object that has that information, but we have a little bit more that we want to add on to that. So by extending, it's basically taking from the root and extending out a branch called developer that has its own unique properties as well as methods. So in this case, what we can do is, again, we're going to use constructor, and we're going to want to call, name, age. We can call it favorite channel again, and we're going to call something called programming language, right? And what's going to happen is we have something very unique here called super. And super is a little bit confusing, but let me jump into why it's very useful. So let me go ahead and just call const. We're going to call this guy Jesse, and we'll say that he is a developer, and we're going to pass in, of course, the name Jesse. Let's just say he is 25. He still loves cold brew latte, and his programming language is JavaScript. If I go back here and console.log super, what's happening is you can think of super basically as almost like a call back to your constructor. When you call super here, you're accessing the properties, for example, in this constructor that were set in the parent, which is person. So you can see when I console log super, I have access to name, age, and favorite channel. So what I can do here is I want all of that. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to call in super, and I'm going to pass in all of the arguments that were basically sent over from the parent, which is name, age, and favorite channel. Just so you can kind of see this again, if I console.log and then do super and do arguments, you can see that when I'm calling this, it's specifically looking for name, age, and favorite channel, which is populating as Jesse 25 and Code Brew Latte. That's coming directly from this. So it's taking this from the parent, which is person. This information that's coming in, which is name, age, favorite channel, is then basically populating with super using the arguments that came in. The arguments, again, were name, age, and favorite channel. Name, age, and then favorite channel. So those are now populated for that. But we also have one more called programming language. Programming language was not part of the initial constructor function of person. So for programming language, what we have to do is we have to do this dot, and we can do programming language is equal to programming language. And now, if I were to, and first of all, let me just take off this console log. We don't need that anymore. Always be careful not to keep console logs in your code, as I have a console log right here. If I console.log Jesse, you can see now I have a name, age, favorite channel, and a programming language, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. And so let's say that Jesse wants to have a more formal introduction that not only says his name, but he wants to say what his programming language is. So again, what we can do is we can create a function called introduce or whatever you want to call it. And what we'll do is we're going to return super.introduce, which is basically, it's going to return, hi, my name is plus this name. So it'll say, hi, my name is Jesse, for example. And just to show that, I can do console.log jesse.introduce. Hi, my name is Jesse, because again, super is grabbing this information from the parent. But again, Jesse's a little bit extra, so he wants to talk about his stack here. So what he's going to do is he's going to return super.introduce, but he's going to say, and I develop in, and then plus this dot programming language. So now if I console log this, hi, my name is Jesse. Oops, I forgot the space there. And I develop in JavaScript. Well, I hope this was a useful snapshot into how classes work. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. Since this is a brand new channel, any likes, comments, subscriptions would greatly help me. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome. And let me know what you want to learn about next. We can talk about React, we can talk about Node, we can talk about Express, anything you guys want to hear. I can bring up a lesson on that. I intend to talk about data structures and algorithms moving forward. Happy to kind of go over that information. So drop a comment down below. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.